Hello everyone, and welcome to Banners of Ruin. Banners of Ruin is a roguelike deck building game in similar vein of something like Slay the Spire, but with its own twists on exploration through the world and the combat mechanisms there within. Each run is a little bit longer than something like a Slay the Spire or a Binding of Isaac, so this might come to you in a couple of parts, but let's get started. So we'll come down here to New Game, and the very first thing we have to decide is which pair or solo hero we're going to bring along with us. So there are multiple animals that you can control, and each has its own particular set of talents. In my campaign currently, I have a choice of a mouse, a bear, a weasel, and a wolf. Now, I've not used the wolf before, so how about we use a weasel on one side and a wolf on the other. Of course, you could randomize if you wish to, and there is a tutorial. And up here, there are things called oaths. So rather than something like Ascension that you might have seen in Slay the Spire, here instead you can choose oaths, and when you select them, you'll have an issue such as enemies gain 5 vitality per turn. But if you complete that run, your score will be 1.15 times. And so if you're going for a score attack, you can decide to have much higher challenges ahead of you. But for now, we're going to skip the oaths, take our weasel and our wolf, and begin our campaign. So before we get started here, let's go over a few other things. On the left, you can see that we have Kesselmead, our weasel, and Islington, our wolf. At the top, you'll see our deck currently consists of 16 cards. We have our 2 heroes and 0 florins, the game's currency. If we click on our deck up here, we can see the 16 cards that currently make up our deck. So we have 3 basic guards, as well as 3 basic strikes, and then several other cards that have different effects and different synergies between one another. So, for example, here we can discard a card and gain 3 charge, and when then we attack with something later, each attack in that card will have a higher damage equal to the stack of charge. So if we were to discard a card and gain 3 charge, we could then rush, and rather than dealing 1 times 3 damage, we would deal 4 times 3 damage. And you can see how these things might begin to synergize with one another. We also have cards representing the equipment that we're currently holding. So if we come to our heroes here, our weasel, Kesselmead, is currently wielding a hatchet and a shield. So the hatchet will deal 8 damage, and if it breaks through the target's shield, we gain 2 charge, and we can spawn 10. We can gain 10 defense and spawn a take cover. That cover goes into our hand, and we can apply 5 shield to an ally. And the things that you really want to pay attention to here are how much energy each hero has to spend each turn, and how much willpower they have over the course of an entire fight. Because each hand will energy will refresh, but willpower will not. Also, you'll see that we have this kind of 4-sided circle, 4-cleft square, however you'd like to describe it. That symbol is present at the top of the axe and the top of the shield, so we can only play these cards whilst controlling this character. Then we can hop over to our wolf, and we can see that they have the same 2 energy, 1 willpower, and a long sword that requires holding in 2 hands, so we do not currently have a secondary weapon or a shield, and they have a different kind of knot, and that does 8 damage to all targets. So that's the basics of our cards and our heroes. Our wolf is also wearing light armor. Each combat we gain 6 shield and start with 1 stamina extra every turn. So instead of 2, this will be 3. And this guy here will start each combat with 14 shield. So with that, that's our party. We can also see here that we are currently here at the main gate of the city. Then we'll have to get through a number of trials before fighting a mini-boss, another set of trials, another mini-boss, then another set of trials, and we'll reach the keep at the end. But to begin with, we get to decide one small boon for ourselves. So, Helping Hand. A hooded figure emerges from the shadows, startling you for a moment. They reveal a friendly token and offer you something for the road, and we can gain whatever provisions is. Foresight, your experience as a veteran have heightened your sense of strategy. Plan for what lies ahead. We get to pre-select our first talent. And Vitality, you ready yourself to dig deep for some inner strength and gain +8 max health. So this is self-explanatory. I think this means we get to add a card to our deck, but I'm going to pre-select our first talent and show you what that is. You take a moment to consider your options, and so we can focus and take Kesselmead's talent. So Kesselmead is our, I keep wanting to say fox, but they're a weasel, and so these are talent cards. They are different to the other skills that we have in that they are specifically associated with a hero, and we can see that we can take Slippery, rotate with target ally, spawn 2 concealed blades, ruin a card, apply 8 crippled and spawn 1 concealed blade, or place this character's weapon card from any pile into their hand and gain 4 rush, 4 charge, and then banish. We only get to use this once. I think taking a flash will be fine. Oh, we also get to do Islington's talent as well. This character loses half of their vitality. Apply the amount lost as healing to another ally. Deal 6 damage and apply 2 vulnerable every time this card is played. Damage increases by 2 permanently. Early, that sounds excellent. If we banish a card with this turn, spawn Wrath to hand. I'm going to take the Oathkeeper there. So now we are penned in by the walls on the sides, and so we must inspect these weapons. Here we can see that there is a dagger and a bow. So currently you saw we are currently wielding our hatchet and our longsword. We can change these if we wish to. Deals 6 times 2 damage and applies 5 bleeding. Deals 8 damage, or short bow. Now this is where the UI isn't going to play ball with me. Deal weapon damage. If active character is in the front rank, apply 3 bleed and move to the back rank. Move to the front rank, deal 8 damage. If unable to move, +1 stamina, spawn hit and run. I think I'm going to keep my longsword for now, but I do like the idea of having extra bleed, so we'll take this dagger, swap it out for this hatchet. Now we could put this loot into our stash, but if we do that, we have to put the cards associated with them in our deck, even though we wouldn't be able to play them. So let's skip that for now. And now we must enter through the Forgotten Tunnel into the city proper, now that we have received our starting boons. You emerge from Black Tunnel and find yourself in one of the guard bunks. Where the devils did you come from? You can't be here. And now I can show off the combat proper. So we have our 2 heroes here, and we have 2 foes, and you will immediately see that they currently exist on a set of 2 ranks. For the enemy's turns, everything in one rank will fight, and then if there is something else in the other rank, then that rank will then take a turn and they will alternate, whereas we will be able to fight with all of our heroes on every occasion. We draw 5 cards from our deck. Once our deck is exhausted, it gets shuffled and we redraw again. These are our 2 heroes. We currently have Islington highlighted, represented by the yellow circle at the bottom, but we can, whenever we like, change over to the other hero. And you'll see that we currently have 2 stamina with Kesselmead, 2 energy, and 3 with Islington thanks to his light armor. The red bar at the front here denotes that this is the rank that is attacking, and we can see the intents of our enemies beneath them. So on their turn, if this character has 3 or more allies, their defense is raised to 10. They do not have 3 or more allies because there's only the 2 of them here. And they are going to deal 8 damage and apply safety in numbers. This one here is also going to do 8 damage. But we can see they have 8 and 16 health respectively and 6 shield. Now, if you have played Slay the Spire, what you might think is that after the end of each turn, shield would disappear and you have to recuperate it every turn. Here, that is not the case. Your shield will always be with you until it is whittled down by attacks. So, what do we want to do here with our 5 energy between 2 heroes? Well, in an ideal world, both of these guys won't attack me. So what we can do is, here with our wolf, we can kick, select a target. If the position behind them is vacant, move them into it. So let's kick the guy with more health here. So now you can see that they are no longer in the front rank, they no longer have the red line in front of them, so they're not attacking this turn. The only person that is attacking is the malicious spearman here at the front, the little mouse. We have 1 energy left. We can see with this highlighting red arrow that they are going to attack Islington. They're going to attack them for 8. Islington only has 6 shield, so unless we can kill this guy in 1 turn, we should look to defend more. Can we kill them in 1 turn? Deal weapon damage of 6 and apply 4 poison. 4 bleeding, so that would take them down to 8 for the 6 damage, and they would lose 4 health at the start of their turn, leaving them on 4 health. And if we strike them for 5, then they will die. So, strike there. Sharpened weapon here. They have 3 health remaining. They're going to lose 4 health to bleeding at the start of their turn. They have died. That rank's turn resolves with no actions. It's back to us. And then their back rank is now going to fight us, attacking Kesselmead for 8 damage. Now, Kesselmead does not have... has more than 8 shields, so we do not need to worry about attacking right now. So, is there any benefit to doing anything else? Not particularly. For the amount of energy that we have, what we can do is strike for 5, because that shield will not regenerate. And currently, Kesselmead is being attacked, but instead, let's see what other... I entirely forgot to mention this. Each hero gets a special ability, so the wolf may play character cards from another character. So at the moment they are unable to play the round shield because that is a weasel card rather than a fox card, wolf card. Clicking this would spend 1 of our blue willpower and mean that we can then play any card that we like. Over here though, we can use 1 willpower to spawn 3 concealed blades. It's a 1 cost, deal 2 damage, apply 3 bleeding. But instead what we're going to do is we're going to withdraw our friend here. And we're going to move them behind us. So now this guy doesn't have a target because he's hitting this row and there's nobody in that row to attack. So that works out well for us. We will add some shield over here because we have the spare energy too. We'll give our ally at the front 5 extra defense. End our turn. And it says evaded there because they tried to attack that center rank, that center column, but there was nobody there. So we need to do 16 damage. I think we can attack quite simply with a longsword. 3 more damage there. And a strike. And that's our first combat resolved. So we emerge victorious after 5 rounds. We get 125 florins. And we can choose to add a card to our deck, although we do not have to. Pincer, deal 8 damage, apply 2 charge to an ally. Draw 1 card and gain 3 stacks of preparation. So we'll continue drawing cards of the stack preparation each subsequent turn. Or Warcry, apply charge equal to weapon damage and move/swap to the front rank. I'm going to take the quick hands. I like some early draw. And now we must negotiate with the informant. As you turn a corner, you find yourself confronted by a wiry figure, their identity masked by the dim light, but their noble birth betrayed by their fine robes. I know why you've come to Dawn's Point, the low, dry echoes voice off the stone-cold walls. I can help you reach him. My family are being held captive in Old Town. Help us flee the city, and I will arrange you entry into the keep. Find a boat and free my family, then meet us in the sewers below the royal court. Do as I ask, and you will have your blood. You exchange a solemn, understanding nod with the old wolf before he sharply hurries off. So that is a quest that will come back to resolve itself later, perhaps. So now we're in the main point of the progression through the kind of the floor, the city perimeter. At the top here, you can see the number 16 on each selection. Beneath, it says that this service at the end of the lane will allow you to modify your deck or character's equipment. This service at the end of the lane will allow you to hire characters for your party. And this service will allow you to heal members of your party. So as we select options here, these numbers will tick down depending on the value of the card that we select from the left, center, or right. At the moment, it doesn't make any difference for us, because if we select this combat in the center, it costs 1. The other 2 cards will tick down to 0 because we spent 1. They'll be removed and we'll be presented with 3 other choices, and the number at the top will drop to 15. So let's do that. So 2 mice, both attacking Islington right now for 2 times 4 damage, and moves and swaps to a random position. Well, I think simply they're attacking for 8, 16, both against Islington. Very simple choice to move Islington behind Castlemead. That way we are taking no damage this turn. We can use our Rondel Dagger to do 6 times 2 damage and apply 5 bleeding. And if we strike them once more, they now have 5 health. They will take 5 damage from bleeding at the start of their next turn. They are no longer a problem for us. And here we can just gain 15 shield. We gain the pacified feature, which means we cannot play any further cards, but next turn that will tick down and be resolved. So the Scoundrel we have evaded. They move to the back rank, so they're going to attack again immediately. We cannot kick them from the back rank to the front rank. That does not work that way round, but we may well be able to do enough damage here. If we attack with Sharpened Steel, we now need to do 10 more damage. We now need to do 5 more damage. If we use this and put 3 Concealed Blades into our hand, we still have 2 energy. If we spend 2 of these, they are down to 5 health. They have 10 bleeding. That results in their immediate demise. We take our cash and look at our choice of cards here. We've seen Rush before, just deal 1 times 3 damage, although with charge this can increase immensely. Poison Tip applies 3 poison. Now again, using a Slay the Spire reference, you might be expected that poison does 3 damage and then ticks down to 2, does 2 damage, ticks down to 1, does 1 damage, disappears. But no, here poison increases every turn. So if you can play poison early, they'll take 3 damage, then 4 damage, then 5 damage, for as long as that fight continues to go on. So I think this early, that sounds like a good plan to me. So these guys get moved to 0, they all progress, and now we have 3 more choices of events we can take. Decoy. You find yourself faced in a hard situation. If you can set up a distraction, you might be able to work around it. Select a card, that's one of these 2 cards, move it into this lane and add 1 to its counter. Mentor, we can modify our deck, and Merchant in Trouble, we can go and investigate. I think we'll go investigate this poor merchant. You see a merchant during a shakedown with some thugs. There doesn't seem to be any guards around. We can take some goods while they're distracted. This will add 250 florins to our purse, but this option leads to a random outcome. Or we can defend the merchant and choose a skill. I think for now, I'll just choose a skill. You approach the scene and address the thugs, brandishing your steel. If you're looking for trouble, you found it. It doesn't take long for them to excuse themselves. Thank you, strangers. I'd never seen those brutes before. Where are these sodding guards when you need them? I tell you, please, take something from my wares. So we can take Yellow Powder, deal 5 damage to a full rank, and apply 5 crippled to everyone. If target opponent has more health than the active character, draw a card. If less health, discard a card. Or remove all bleeding on an ally and apply 5 healing. So this is good because if we're behind in damage, we can draw a card for free. Or if we are ahead, if we're behind and we're more injured, we can use the discard card to make discard synergies work. But for now, I think Yellow Powder as some AoE is good for me. Again, those 2 tick down to 0, and we are presented with new options. So this is a large crowd. We cannot select this. It's basically funneling our choices to the 2 on the left for 3 choices worth of time. So we can go to a back alley and select a lane and remove its 2 cards, or we can just gain Doggedness, start your next combat with 15 defense. I think that's an easy choice. So now we have 2 combats and we cannot go through the large crowd, so we take a combat. That's simple enough. Thug, Scoundrel and Thug. We have 2 attacking Islington, 1 attacking Kesselmead, but unfortunately we have no movement options right now, so we just have to defend ourselves as best we can. Fortunately, the doggedness is giving us a great big help with regards to our shield right now. So we have 5 energies worth of stuff and 7 energies worth of cards in our hand. I think we're going to start with bleeding on the Scoundrel here. Now the question is, could we kill them? We could if we struck them twice for 5 and then 5 more. The 4 bleeding will kill them, and with our remaining 1 energy we will just defend for 5. So we're attacked for 8 and attacked for 8 again, and we've each gained vulnerability, so when we are vulnerable we'll take 25% more damage from attacks. Now they're dealing 2 times 3 damage, and they're both doing that, 1 to each of us. For now, let's use some yellow powder to attack them both for 5, and if they now move they're going to have problems. And we have Vanguard here. We can deal 6 damage, but if our character is in the front rank, which they currently are, we can do 10 damage, so I don't see why we wouldn't be doing that. We can put some poison. We'll do that on the one who currently has more available health, so we have a longer period of time to tick up into that health. And we both have enough shields, so let's give the person with less shield that. Give ourselves this. Take cover for them. They take 3 damage and the poison ticks up to 4. They hit us several times. So now we want to try and kill this guy because this one's going to keep getting poison ticks. So they currently have 4 crippled. Whenever this character moves, they take damage equal to their stack of crippled. So if we kick them, not only will they not attack us this turn, but also they'll take 4 damage. So let's do that to the guy who is going to continue to take damage as turns progress from his poison. And over here we just need to do 15 damage to that guy. I regret my decision on how I did my turn order, but what we can do is spend 1 of our will and then use the Rondel Dagger from the other hero. That does enough damage and bleeding to see them die. Let's throw a card we're not using to give ourselves 3 charge for next turn. Put on some guard. Watch the guy at the front die. And the thug at the back. Not taking his turn yet, but with 3 charge, this rush becomes 12 damage. And then a simple longsword. Apply 15 defense to an ally. Active character and ally both gain winded. Next turn, lose 1 stamina for every stack of winded, then winded is removed. So that's a high defense now for less stamina later. Another yellow powder that we've seen before, and another Vanguard. I don't think we need any of this, so I'm just going to skip that one and just try and use better cards in our deck rather than bloating it. So as we've been doing this, we've been gaining experience, and we now have enough experience to level up. So let's see what that's about. We have now come to level 2 at 500 XP. We get to upgrade our will or our stamina by 1 point by clicking on either of them, and we get to add a talent. Slippery, rotate with an ally, spawn 2 concealed blades. Flash, place this character's weapon card from any pile into their hand, gain 4 charge. Or control, deal 12 damage, move or swap an opponent to a new position. This character moves or swaps to the mirrored lane. So we get to move, and then somebody else... we move somebody else, and then we move to match them. Since we already have the yellow powder, let's go with that. We can see if we can do more damage to them by cutting their ankles. And because we haven't gained any need for will, let's increase our stamina. Then over here, we've got our wolf friend. Deal 6 damage, apply 2 vulnerable. Every time this card is played, damage increases by 2 permanently. We haven't even seen our other copy of this yet. Apply 15 defense to an ally, gain 1 will. That's pretty good. And Ruthless. Ruin a card, convert your charge into stacks of brutality. This character's next attack applies bleeding equal to brutality stacks. That's great, but unfortunately we don't have too many ways of adding charge to our cards yet, so that's pretty situational. So I think I'm going to take the big defend and increase our energy to 3. Now we can go and buy cards at the Knife Merchant. We can heal our party by 50% for a quick round, but we still cannot pass through the large crowd. Now, we have not taken any damage yet, so going to the tavern would be redundant, so let's go and see if there is any cards we'd like to buy. We have 393 available florins, so we can only afford Pincer or Warcry. Apply charge to weapon damage and move swap to the front rank, or deal 8 damage, apply 2 charge to another ally. Now, we did just skip over a charge synergy card, and I think I would rather save my cash for other benefits in the future. So we'll skip over that. And a search party has been drawn into one column, so it populates all columns. That's going to be a combat for us, one that we cannot avoid. Now we have a city guardsman, an enforcer, and another city guardsman. This guy, you see, rather than the arrow denoting one person being attacked, they're going to attack the entire rank. 10 damage up to Islington, and another 5 damage to the whole rank. This guy also has Fury. At the end of their turn, this character gains charge equal to the stacks of Fury, and Fury increases by 2. So they're going to get more deadly over time. So what do we want to do? We have 7 energy between us, and we have 7 energy worth of cards in our hand. So we need to make sure that Kesselmead is spending the cards that are particular to him. So let's go after this Enforcer first. And if I could have seen who was attacking who here, we could actually evade by moving our rank, although these guys are both attacking the full front rank, so that was a mistake. Now, they're going to die from 5 and 6, so they're probably going to die very soon. Let's spend our stronger attacks elsewhere. So we take 5 in 2 spots each. Islington taking some damage. That will not heal by itself. We either have to find a tavern or a church or a card that will specifically heal us. Now the back rank are attacking. They're going to take 5 bleeding damage, so we just need to do 1 damage back there. So that's the simplest way to do that. They'll die this turn. This city guardsman is going to die from that 3 bleeding, so we only need to worry about the one at the top rank. So we are going to apply 15 defense to ourselves and gain 1 will. Strike for 5. Kesselmead is going to use his power, create some blades to use, and we will discard this shield, give ourselves some charge for next turn. The Enforcer dies from bleeding. Come back to the front row. Bottom City Guardsman's going to die imminently, so we just need to do 10 damage to the guy at the top. Unfortunately, we don't have that much, but we can see that they are attacking Kesselmead, so simply we can move Kesselmead out of the way. That way we are not going to take any harm. Very nice. So they died there because they moved to the center of the row and they had crippled, so they took damage when they did so. Gain 15 defense, character gains pacified. deal damage equal to stacks of crippled on opponent, and apply 3 more poison. So this is only to 1 opponent, and currently our crippled only really goes up to 5 with our yellow powder, and it's not likely that we're going to cycle through that yellow powder terribly quickly. So I'm going to skip this and move on. And now we have 3 more choices. We can enter combat, we can gain high spirits, we start next combat with 1 extra stamina. We start next combat with vigor. The first time that we spend stamina, it's refunded to us. So if we spend a 2 stamina card, we get 2 stamina back, basically letting us play something for free. Or we can come to a weapons cache. I don't think we need to change up our weapons, so we'll do 1 more combat and then end there at part 1. So 3 enforcers this time, 2 attacking Kesselmead, 1 attacking Islington, and they're all just striking for 10 damage apiece. So let's give Kesselmead 15 defense, give ourselves some extra will, and with Kesselmead so well defended, we will move ourselves out of harm's way. Then here we can just attack with what we've got left. Let's go after one of the weaker ones to start. Deal 12 damage, move. We do not currently have any cripple in effect. With 3 bleeding, we only need to do 5 damage here. Unfortunately, even something as strong as Vanguard is kind of overkill, but what we can do, create 3 of these. That guy is now going to die. We can Vanguard from the front rank to do extra damage. And to do 7 damage to the guy at the back. If we spend our will point, we can do 12 damage over here, and I guess we swap. And let's put 3 poison on the Enforcer. So their charge is getting way up there, so they're going to be doing more and more damage to us, so we want this to be over as fast as we can. This turn is pretty simple, mostly playing itself. And that's going to be enough. So deal 6 damage, push opponent to back rank if occupied, switch positions. Draw 1 card, gain 1 vigor. Swap positions with a target party member. Let's take Battering Ram and try and keep using these positional changes to our advantage. And we will discover what these are next time. Thank you ever so much for watching. If you're enjoying this little mini-series, please do let me know. If you have any questions or comments, you can put them down below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.